once we had heard the finished product, I was like, we really did that. Like, yes, we really did that. Like,
My name is Casey Fees. I'm the resident principal at Senn High School. And before coming to Senn, I was a music teacher in Chicago Public Schools. So it's really my honor to be here and moderate this panel tonight. We'd like to begin with our students. Sydney, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, I'd be glad to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sydney Mathis. I'm a 10th grader. And for this composition, I was a vocalist.
Yes. My name is Mendoza. I'm a 12th grader. I was also a vocalist for this project.
Hi, I'm Jesionowski. I was the choreographer for the project. Hi, I'm Trevor Nicholas. I was the composer and videographer and kind of planner and producer and director alongside Mix Cosgrove.
Hi, I'm Mix Cosgrove, Colin Cosgrove here, and I edited the audio.
I'm Heather Aranyi. I'm a teaching artist with the Lyric Opera of Chicago. I've had the honor of working with this incredible team of course, with Trevor and these amazing artists at Senn. And I'm honored to be, with these incredible colleagues also. So it's a wonderful night to celebrate the transformational work that Trevor is doing at Senn. Truly an incredible gift to the city of Chicago.
And I'm Trey Mclaughlin, a friend of Trevor's, and I got a chance to sing a little bit with the wonderful students and the dancers and instrumentalists. So just so grateful to be a part of it.
I have to come back to you because I know that was a short introduction, Trey. There's a lot more there. And as a former choir director, I'm so honored to have you joining us tonight. Mr. Nicholas, could you tell us about the genesis of this project? What was your inspiration and what were your goals?
Yeah, I mean, it always starts with students. It almost sounds cliche, but that's, I mean, the thing that we have together in our learning community is really special, and it has this energy about it. When I started in Chicago Public Schools, I didn't grow up in Chicago, and I got to know my students and where they were from and where I was from, and it was very different. And so I've spent my career trying to have us understand each other and take our gifts and kind of meld them together and kind of figure out how we can make the world a better place. So in grad school, I did a project. There's 102 pages written about it now, but I thought my next step as an educator was to figure out, how do I help us navigate the trauma in this world? And my project was to spend the last year writing vocal music pieces that responded to traumatic events that happened in my learning community. And we had a heck of a year even before COVID. And so by the time COVID had come around, I had written a few songs for the students. Some of them I shared with them, some of them I didn't. But at this moment, I was sitting after being on another set of Google Meets that were really difficult, and kind of sitting with, well, I'm actually, during the pandemic, there are things that I was enjoying that not everybody did. You know, I had shelter, I kept my job, right? And I was okay. I was hurt and down, but I was okay. And so there was this weight from what everybody was experiencing. And so it came out very simply, who will carry me while I'm alone, and then a little vocalese afterwards to kind of express it. And that was a piece that was just mine. It was mine in that moment to express myself. And then it turned into one of my pieces for my grad project. And then after it was announced that we would no longer have vocal competitions, it made sense to push all of our repertoire to the side. We did this together as a community, students, right? We did this, we decided it's no longer our purpose to do that. And so we decided we're going to find one piece, and we've never done a virtual choir before, but we're going to try it or something like it. And so I pitched this to them. I recorded it one night. You know, just like everybody else, I had to hear myself sing, and they adopted it. And what was really neat about this project, about trauma, is that some of the insulating factors from being traumatized from trauma are having community and strong relationships and having purpose. There are many other things as well. And so this project, this collaborative project, gave us community. I reached out to every arts partner from the last 2 years that spent time with my students, coaching or singing and performing. And every organization responded, and it started building more and more. And then we're like, wait a minute, this thing could be a neat thing. And Miss Jesionowski was putting all these amazing, I don't know how she did videos like every other week, but she did it. I did one video. She's still doing them. And she got excited about it and said, yeah, I'd be interested in choreographing this, and I'll let her talk about that more later. And then Krista Wartendijk showed us a video, and she's like, well, what about this? And then we're like, whoa, that's cool too. And this story again goes on for hundreds of pages, but it just started to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I know Mix Cosgrove has a whole story about how the audio grew and how the audio track grew. And then there's this whole videography and then the choreography and then this community that kind of built. And this was like our love letter to each other to help insulate us against the trauma of all the things. And although there are certain things that have come to the surface more about violence against Black bodies, it's not a new thing. And so it just so happens that the videos were being recorded while about half of them were recorded is when George Floyd was murdered. And so this project grew at that time as things were coming to the surface. After that, we've been waiting to release it because we need to make sure that everybody's covered with permissions and that we're respecting everybody who's a part of the project. So I think I'm going to pin in it right there for the moment.
Mr. Nicholas. Let's hear from the student perspective. Sydney, what was it like having to collaborate during these difficult circumstances?
You know, the only part that was really hard was the Wi-Fi. Trying to be on the meets and then trying to get the video uploaded. That was the only really difficult part for me. But I really enjoyed it. It was nice because we had spent a long time away from the classroom, a long time away from my peers, and it was really nice just having something to look back on when I'm like kind of missing my friends. I just need to hear their voice somehow, some way, just listen to them. So it was an interesting process that I never thought I'd have to work through or live through, but I'm glad I did because it really did open my eyes to some new experiences. So.
Mix Cosgrove, so you're a new teacher to Senn. How are you part of this project?
So I had the incredible opportunity to student teach at Senn High School last spring before I was hired. And about halfway through my time at Senn, everything kind of hit the fan. COVID started really ramping up and everything went virtual. And Trevor was very generous in letting me hang on and continue to work with this, with our amazing student body. And the project just kind of developed there and kept developing throughout the summer. And then a position miraculously opened up, and I'm so fortunate to be able to continue working, as you can see, in a community that's capable of incredible things. Yeah.
Ms. Jesionowski, I assume you're used to choreographing for the stage, but here you're choreographing for remote performances on a screen. What was that process like for you? How did you go about envisioning the choreography for this project?
So there's a couple of layers that were really different for me. Yes, I am used to placing my movement on stage, and not to music that predominantly focuses on choir or chorus. So when I first got the track that was sent over, it took me a minute to figure out exactly how I would even move to it, how I would incorporate student movement and their own voices in it alongside my own, which is typically what we do throughout the program, is a mixture of those things. I don't know if you noticed, but there were dancers in hallways, dancers in garages, dances outside. So just to imagine like what kind of shoes they would be wearing and where I would be working and them. And then I think our common issue is that the screen flips you. So my left looks like your right, which is still something we struggle with today. But I think those are the types of things that made me a better teacher and choreographer, made the students kind of persevere through not knowing exactly what they were supposed to do, which arguably is not what the project is about. And I think that they did really well overall.
Yeah, what were your expectations for this project, and how did this differ from the result?
Sure. So pretty much like when Mr. Nicholas first brought it to us as students, we were like, this is going to be really cool. I remember doing the like helping with the like words and stuff when we had a lot of creative freedom over the project. I didn't honestly, I really didn't expect it to be as successful and as big as it was. Like there were some faces in there that I was really happy to see from like years prior, like you know the years that I have been here for. It really it really made me feel better as somebody that took part in it because like these are people that I care about. These are people that I have seen. So while it was unexpected, it was really, really positive. So yeah, I was really happy to see how it turned out. I was really proud of Mr. Nicholas and everybody who put the effort behind it. It was definitely just a huge success, and I really, really enjoyed that.
So Aranyi, can you tell us more about your work with Mr. Nicholas and these students?
Yes, it's hard to believe that I think Mr. Nicholas and I were entering our 5th year of working together. And one of the things I love about Lyric is it's very intentional on really developing extraordinary promise. And when I met Mr. Nicholas 5 years ago, it was very clear right away what a gifted educator he is, his commitment and his raw talent. And so over the last 5 years, we've worked together on all different aspects of the voice, of performance. At Northwestern, I teach entrepreneurship and innovation with a specialty in creative entrepreneurship, and how the connected voice helps the body to heal from trauma. And so on many levels, I see the power of this work. So Trevor and I became friends over the course of the 5 years, and I'm very attached to these incredible students. And we were talking, and I was asking about how they're doing, and I miss them. And Mr. Nicholas said, you know, we're doing this project. I think it would be great if we could see you, if you could do this. And of course I said yes immediately. So I'm also a huge fan of Mr. McLaughlin, just enormous. And I'm so honored to be doing this with you. And I want to acknowledge, I thought the choreography was just extraordinarily powerful and beautiful. And I've shared this work across the country, you know, in terms of little snippets, and universally people have said how amazing it is. The talent at Senn is unbelievable. I have so much respect for the students and what they do. And it's phenomenal to work with Mr. Nicholas over the years to continue to develop the program.
McLaughlin, have you done a remote collaboration like this before? What was that experience like for you?
This was the second time that I've done something similar to this, just because it kind of happened a little bit early on during the pandemic. But since this, me and my group as well have had a lot of opportunities to do some big things with Jordan Sparks and John Legend and Common and a few other people, which was remote. So I'm grateful for this experience. Like, it kind of gave me a one up on some of the other people who were doing some similar things. But it's definitely a great experience, and singular in that I get to work with these great kids that some of whom I've actually met before, and just getting to work with Trevor. He's so amazing and such a good like human being. So I'm grateful to be a part.
I'm going to stick with you and ask you more about, for your group and in this collaboration, what role do the arts have in healing our communities?
A huge role. I think that and you know what, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because on one hand, the arts is the one thing that we can't really do like we usually would. We can't go to performances. They don't want us singing together because it kind of spreads COVID. However, I think it's been the one thing or the one experience, even virtually, that has caused us to feel just a little bit better about everything that's going on. Even with my group, we haven't been able to physically meet, but we've done a few virtual things, and it's just been an awesome experience to sing with those people, even though it's not quite the same as singing with them in person. It's just nice to do something with them and to feel their energy, even if it's through a screen. So it's played a huge role. And I think as we continue to do things like this, it will only make things better, or at least give people some type of comfort during this rough and kind of turbulent time.
Because Cosgrove, you talked a little bit about your connection to Senn and getting to work and collaborate with the Senn community. Tell us more about the spirit of the Senn community and how you feel that this composition embodies the spirit of Senn's community.
So I think throughout my life before this project, I sort of categorized a response to trauma and hardship as you either can choose hope or despair. But after going through so much trauma as a community together, at some point, those lines kind of get blurred, right? And we don't always have the opportunity to choose hope. And this project, in addition to being just like an incredible and almost surprising response to this trauma, I felt like this helped bridge the way that we might categorize despair and hope, right? There's this point of healing where we have to acknowledge the pain and feel it together, and then at that point we can move on to something more positive, or at least tide us over until there's a vaccine, or until there's justice, or until we find ways to cope better, you know. And so how that ties into the Senn community is, if this is a way that we are coming together and responding to one of the biggest challenges that our world has ever tangibly experienced, then I think that speaks in ways that I can't, right? Yeah.
I'd like to ask both our students, we'll start with Mia, how did this performance make you feel when you were participating in it, and how does it feel now to watch the finished product?
So when I first saw the end product initially in the word on the street online, it was really emotional for me, because I was like, wow, like there's such a huge sense of unity at Senn alone, in person. And I can only speak on behalf of the music department, but there's we're really tight with each other. And I know that's interdisciplinary too with other art wings. So just to see it really get together, even in a time where we're all like, we were really struggling because it was just, the beginning of quarantine. It was really emotional. I was really happy to see everybody like taking part in something that like had a lot of meaning to me. So it felt good to know that everybody was on the same page. We were all in this together. So it just meant a lot to me, and it made me feel really accomplished, and it made me feel like happy for my peers. And this was definitely a really, really great turnout.
Why don't we jump over to Mr. Russell. Mr. Russell, thank you for joining us. We did introductions before. Can you tell us who you are and what your connection is to this project?
Yes, so my name is Markeise Russell. I'm the former band director and lead music educator from Nicholas Senn High School, and the alto saxophone soloist that you saw in the video.
Great, thank you. So Sydney, continue on the same line of questioning.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. So I want you to respond both to how you were feeling during the process and at the end of it. And let's really dig into the process. I imagine it really took a level of resilience and perseverance to create this project. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it definitely did. I remember I always had music in the beginning of the day. It was always at like 9 a.m. And so it's kind of hard to sing and to think and function at 9 a.m. So I just remember, Mr. Nicholas, a couple of my other peers, just brainstorming lyrics, brainstorming, how can we incorporate this? How can we incorporate that? And then once we had heard the finished product, I was like, we really did that. Like, yes, we really did that. Like, just filming it, just seeing all my peers, like, it just made me feel really proud to be part of such an amazing community. Like, this community that it's my second year here, and I'm like, I feel like I've been here for years. I'm like, this is amazing. I never thought that I'd be stepping into such a tight knit community that is really supportive. They were my number one supporters, honestly. If I were to be like, you know what, I want to be an astronaut, Miss Nichols would be like, as you should, yes, be an astronaut, yes. Like, we are just so close, and it was really amazing to see this finished product and really broadcast to everybody else how close knit and how amazing this program is.
Jesionowski, were there surprises along the way during this collaboration? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I think, just if I'm completely honest, I had no idea what I was getting into when Trevor first called me. He's like, we should collaborate, which is what we've been talking about for years in Senn Arts, is we have these amazing artists and these students who are hungry for new things and new challenges. And in the building, it's really hard to even find like a time in the day where we can come together with the strict bell schedules and things like that. So really the online platform opened quite a few doors for us. So I did not know that this is where this project was going to lead us. And thankfully so, because I probably would have just like collapsed under the pressure of it before moving. I shouldn't be surprised anymore, but I am always surprised by the level of talent and by the dedication and students emailing me, can I do this late? As if there's like a specific strict 6 p.m. deadline or something. So I just think that, I don't know if Trevor would want to re-video edit, but this type of collaboration was just so incredible and full of so many good experiences for the students, it sounds like, but also as a staff member.
Mr. Russell, I've got to ask you about that sax solo. There's something behind that, I can tell. I mean, what was the emotion, the impetus behind that solo? How does it connect to the context of our world right now?
Yeah, so that solo was a lot of pent up everything. We were entering a time at that moment of uncertainty. There were a lot of things that were happening in the world in terms of the violence in the streets and what's happening in terms of crimes against Black people. Going through the grieving process, and as I'm going through the process and advancing through the stages of the process, before I can heal from one thing, something else is happening, and something else is happening. So that solo was kind of like my 15 seconds to express all of the emotions that I was feeling, emotions that I wasn't necessarily able to put into words. I listened to the recording a couple times, and that solo was the first take. That's what came out. My feelings in 15 seconds. I had been away from the horn for quite a long time, and Trevor contacted me and said, I want you to put together just 10 to 15 seconds of a solo. And my first thought was, you want me to do what? But absolutely, when Trevor asked me to do something, I do it. I trust Trevor, and it must be important. So I jumped on it. And I think looking back at it, having been through the last all the months since March until now, I'm glad I did it. I had an opportunity to be a part of something that the world needs right now. We need collaboration. We need to send this love, and we need to send this positivity out into the world because there's not enough of it. And, we're on this wild roller coaster ride, and we don't know what's going to happen next. And our lives have been changed forever. I was watching a movie the other day, and I saw people shaking hands in the movie, and I was, oh God, that's weird. They're shaking hands, right? That's how, you know, our world's become now. So, you know, at that moment I took that solo. I didn't know I would be saying this now, but that solo showed a lot of anger, sadness, uncertainty, and a lot of also a little bit of hope. There's some hope in there, you know, because I did take a little bit of that opportunity. You know, there was some newfound time that I had to rediscover my passion for playing the instrument because of this opening I had, you know, because of this project to start playing the instrument again. And, you know, so that was kind of the silver lining. But, you know, it's a tough time for everybody, and we're just trying to all get through the uncertainties of what life looks like now and what life is going to look like moving forward.
Thank you for sharing that. So Ronnie, can you tell us more about the partnership that we have between Senn and the Lyric?
Yes, absolutely. So, and Mr. Nicholas, feel free to jump in. But there's, it originally started where I would come in once a week. Lyric picks the top schools, you know, very few from across the city, and a huge part of the process is interviewing who is in charge of the program. So, as I mentioned, Mr. Nicholas clearly stood out as an incredible educator, artist, visionary. And so Lyric, we have a great deal of trust in Zen, a great deal of trust in Mr. Nicholas. And so now this year, there's a lot of flexibility. So whatever Mr. Nicholas wants us to do in terms of the collaboration, if it's one year we were at the Cubs national anthem, it seems like so far away now. And then other years we've worked with vocal performance in concert or competitions and any aspect of performance. And this year, Mr. Nicholas and I will be working on creating incredible virtual experiences for the Senn artists, so that it's something that's transferable. It's something that can come alive, not only in this moment of COVID, but after, so that they can continue to grow and develop their online presence as artists. Would you add anything, Mr. Nicholas?
I think that was really great. It's the Lyric partnership has been so important because the year before Mia started with us was my first year at Senn, and it was a big year of transition. The whole music team turned over, and it was really hard, and it was hard for a number of years, and it's never stopped being hard. But now a lot of the hardness comes from us doing art at such a high level and navigating the world now, where at the beginning it was a lot different. I mean, in the last couple of years, the admin has invested in us. We have new sound reducing doors on the practice rooms. We have free lessons through other partnerships for the students. We have risers in the room to rehearse on, things that we've gained over the years as we've gone out and done these projects. And it's been Lyric who was there from the beginning to help advocate for us and pour into us and make sure that I was okay as this was happening. I know, Mr. Fees, you know what it takes to build a choral program, and it takes your whole life and all of your students and your whole community to be together. I also want to say that when we went to the Cubs game, we sang a special arrangement of the national anthem by our very own Trey McLaughlin.
It was stunning. It was stunning.
It was incredible. Yes.
It was incredible.
And one of the projects I've promised my family I wouldn't jump into more projects, but one of the projects that we were going to do at the end of April last year, but we decided to move it off, is to record Trey McLaughlin's national anthem arrangement that was for us and make a digital version, a visual version, so that sports teams could maybe pick it up. It would help both with our branding, hopefully give a boost to Trey's branding, though he's doing pretty well, and maybe be a gift to others. But because of all the things happening in the world, we decided that as a community, we had to critically think about what our repertoire is and what it's saying by choosing to put that repertoire on the big stage right now. So that's one of the exciting projects that we're wondering, because we need to be thoughtful artists. Just because music is absolutely killer doesn't mean that we don't have to keep questioning what and when and why.
It's also really wonderful to see Mr. Russell again. So I just want to, I had the privilege of working with you for years also. And it's so wonderful to see you. I'm so, it's just, I miss this. I miss the students. I miss all of you.
You as well, Heather.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I just jump in one more time here? I want to come back to something I said at the beginning. I talked about insulating from trauma and relationships, and it's been Heather as a human. She's brilliant. She teaches amazing creative entrepreneurship at Northwestern. She is a international performer. She works with Lyric. But at the end of the day, she goes above and beyond to make sure that those around her that she cares about is okay. And that's what's made this arts partnership work, is that we have, even though we're very different people, we're very close friends because we've had each other's backs as all of the things that put pressure on us threaten to take us away from our artistry. And my students, I get stressed. I get way too stressed. I'm working on it. I see that. But it's those relationships with people that make it work. And that's what Lyric has given me, is this a relationship with an amazing human and musician and branding coach for us, right? And when it comes time, Heather's right there giving advice to all of our students about how do they develop their own brand. I could go on for hours about this, but I'm going to cut myself off there. So Sydney and Mia, make sure you take Miss Aranyi up on this. She can help your branding for whatever degree you're going into. She can help you achieve that.
Thank you. And yes, absolutely. I would love to help any Senn students. And I miss you guys, Sydney and Mia. It's so good to see you. And I'm absolutely here to help you.
So I'd like to close with a question, and then I'll open the floor and would love to hear from teachers and students. And I'd like to close with your response, Mr. Nicholas. So the question is, what did you learn in this project about yourself? What did you learn about the Senn community? And what lessons did this project have for our greater community, however you define that? Raise your hand if you would like to take a shot at that. So that's for any students. Mia?
Yeah. So pretty much like what I learned was like at the time, I'm pretty sure I could speak for a lot of people when I say that I was really not in a good place. Especially kind of going back to what Sydney said in the beginning, music is pretty much what I have. Like I wake up, like music is like my thing. Like, and the fact that this was something that was taken away from me meant a lot. So I learned that like I'm still capable of doing the things that I want to do, but just in a different way. I learned that like I was able to adapt, and everyone else was too. And that was it was a period of growth for me. At like just being able to still learn a piece. I will say it does not hit the same when you don't learn a piece and like you can hear all the blend and everybody together. But to hear it coming at the end, I was like, that's us? Like that's crazy. So that was a period of time where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely capable of more things than I had thought of. Even in a time like this, yeah, I definitely learned that my tenacity was expanding, and that was really cool.
Beautiful, well said. Sydney, what did you learn about yourself, about the Senn community, and about our broader community?
Yeah, so during that time, I can just say personally, I was just very unmotivated. It was a lot going on in my life, in the world, and I just felt like, what's next? Like, I'm ready. I guess at this point, I have to be ready. I have no choice but to be ready. So I learned that stress makes me persevere. Like, I don't know if I have not too much, but like a good amount of stress, I just like, gives me like adrenaline, and I'm just like, okay, I got to get this done. I have to do this. And that really taught me, like, I got this. Like, I can do this. This is gonna be like, and this kind of gave me an upper hand when it came to virtual learning. I was just like, when the first day I was having internet issues, and I was like, you know what? It's fine, Sydney. It's fine. You got this. So that's definitely what I learned. And like the community, you know, I think they can take like from just watching the video. I think that they can learn a lot from a lot about us as a community and just a lot about themselves, because that song just really speaks a lot of words. Yeah.
Cosgrove, what did you learn from this experience?
I would put, in my experience, less emphasis on what I learned and how I learned it, because I think what was so special about my learning process throughout all this was that I was learning everything that I did learn from the students. And I was watching Mr. Nicholas, who was at that point my mentor and still is, and luckily has transitioned to coworker. I was just watching Mr. Nicholas facilitate the students as teachers and as artists, and coming up with these brilliant ideas for lyrics and instruments and harmonies and beat making. So that's my answer for that question.
Ms. Jesionowski, what were your takeaways?
So in the studio above the mirrors, we have the sentence, you can do hard things, which I have been saying to students for the past 2 years at Senn, and did not know how much that was going to come in handy this year. But what I learned is that I can do hard things. So, you know, sometimes as teachers, we say all these things to students and we believe them, but we don't say them to ourselves. So it was nice to like kind of live in that with them and not only be their teacher, but also be a student along with them. And as for the greater community, this quarantine and this past 8, 9 months, 6, whatever number we're at, has really taught me that the younger generation is going to move mountains. And I think I kind of knew that beforehand, but if I had any doubt, they are a intelligent and bright and hungry group of people, and I am excited to spend my day with them.
We've been joined by our principal, Miss Beck, who's been watching along and wanted to join us here to say a few words.
Thank you. I just want to say how proud I am of everybody who put this together. I know this was a huge labor of love. I've so enjoyed listening to you all talk about the process, talk about your inspiration, and talk about how you created such a beautiful piece. So thank you, especially Sydney, Mia, Trey, Mr. Nicholas, of course, Heather, Colin, and Amy. You guys have done an amazing piece here, and I'm so proud of you. So thank you for all you've done. I think it's really inspiring. And I'm so lucky to be part of Mix Cosgrove's classes for a while and see this a few times in his class or in their classes, and to continue to support the growth of both this piece and to share that wide. So thank you all.
Thank you.
So before we go to Mr. Nicholas for the closing words, Trey, do you have any takeaways for what this moment means for artists and what lessons you learned from this project?
Yeah, I definitely think that this project in itself has shown me, again, like was stated earlier, that these young people are getting ready to do some amazing things, and just that they have a power within them to touch people and to change lives, really. But also, I think it taught me that even in the midst of hopeless situations, when we feel like we don't know what to do and we're scared and afraid, that in the midst of that, something simple like a song or watching someone do a dance, or I didn't think there was much I could contribute to that project. I was like, this is great. What am I gonna do? But even the simple few little phrases that I sung came together really nicely with the other elements. So I think I learned that it doesn't always have to be huge and spectacular to make an impact on someone.
Nicholas, give us some closing words.
Yeah, first I just want to say how grateful I am for all of this. I would say this is in the hardest global time I've lived through. This is a singular kind of best moment of my professional life, to have just hearts and minds be so close together in this project that was done very solitarily. I moved with my family for a week to get childcare, because like many other families, we didn't have any, and we had a 2.5-year-old then, and now we have a 3-year-old and a 3-week-old. And my family allowed me to sit solitarily and video edit for 12 to 16 hours a day to experience this new art form. So I want to give everybody the charge to go do art. I'd never done video editing before, and I loved it. I've done way too much of it for this project, but I loved it. I loved the community, the people that said yes. And there was this odd thing that happened with trust when we were apart from each other. And we trusted each other in the end in many different ways. And even sometimes we sent our video off and like, I don't know what you're going to do with this, but we have enough relationship to know that what's at the end is going to be our best effort at putting hope and beauty out into the world. So I want to charge people to also wisely trust each other more, because we need to open up in order to make it through these times. But again, I want my last words to say, I'm just grateful. So thanks everyone, and share it as widely as you can, not for our benefit or our glory, but because I think that there's something beautiful in here that can help maybe insulate some others from the trauma that they're experiencing right now. So thank you.
To our arts partner.
I could jump in really quick for just a second. I want to thank Trevor for all this time and energy spent on this. I have been putting just dance videos together, and just aligning them with the music is so difficult. So he had to figure out which dancers were who. I'm sure the vocals and the audio and just doing that must have taken so much time and energy. And I appreciate the time and energy that you spent so that we can walk away with something as beautiful as this.
To our, oh, go ahead, Ms. Aranyi.
I just say, you know, you're amazing. So I just want to take this moment to acknowledge, Trevor, you are incredible. And we are all here because of your brilliance and your heart, and you gravitate people to you with your goodness and your talent. And it's an honor to be with every single person on the screen. And Trevor, you are the light that like brought us all together. So thank you.
To our arts partners, to our Senn faculty, our Senn students, congratulations on a beautiful performance, a moving project. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Be well. Good night.
And thank you, Melanie, for the beautiful third verse lyrics. That is going to give this project life beyond what I ever could have imagined, because you stepped up and added yourself in the Spanish verse. So thank you, Melanie, and we miss you.
I miss you, Melanie, and thank you, Mix Cosgrove, for putting the effort into the audio. I know that was you doing that. Thank you, too.
Good night, everyone.